Hi, this is Sean. It's June. That means it's Pride Month. During June, I'm reading books to celebrate everything LGBTQI+. I borrowed some ebooks from the library along with physical books. This video is an ebook. It's called The Summer of Everything and it's written by Julian Winters. It is a young adult novel, but it's a really fun novel. It's really lighthearted. There's a very sweet romance that goes on in the novel as well. There's a lot of stuff that goes on and the characters are really positive as well. And I think they're really positive characters for a young audience. It's not really a book that's a thriller or a mystery. It's a book about life. So it's kind of like a slice of life book. And it's focused on 2 months. So it's the last 2-month period in summer that a group of friends have before they head off to college. The main character and the main point of view is Wes. So Wes and his friends have just finished high school, or most of his friends have just finished high school, and they're going to head off to college in 2 months. They all work at the same bookstore. They've been friends for quite a while. Wes is best friends with a boy called Nico. They've been friends for many years, I think 10 years or more. Wes has a mission during this summer. He wants to tell his best friend Nico that he has a crush on him, that he's in love with him. He doesn't know how to do it. He's been in love with his best friend for years, but he's not sure how to say the words. Will it hurt the friendship? Will Nico hate him? He's got all these fears and anxiety going on. He's a list maker. So he makes a list, 5 reasons that he's in love with Nico. 5 reasons that Nico isn't into him. So he makes a list of all these different possibilities, and he's always referencing that list throughout the book. There's other things going on in this novel. The bookstore looks like it's going to go under. It's an independent bookstore, and independent bookstores in the city are all going under left, right and centre at the moment. There are a few things about this bookstore that I don't get. The main one is, how can this independent bookstore that doesn't seem to be doing very well, how can it employ so many teenagers to work there? I think there's about 6 teenagers at least that are employed to work there. Not all at the same time, but I think sometimes they've got 3 or 4 working there at once. And for a bookstore that's not making a lot of money, that seems excessive and doesn't make sense to me. That didn't add up. I think it was just a way for the author to get all the characters to be hanging around each other all the time. Have them in the bookstore where they're around each other, where it's central. We can focus a lot of the book on their interactions and their dialogue. The other thing I don't get about the bookstore is the characters seem to be spending most of their time arguing about music, the music they're playing in the store. There's not much talk about books. So that really fascinated me, but in a negative way. Wes's brother is planning his marriage. So we have that going on as well. And Wes gets roped in to help out with the wedding plans. That becomes quite a prominent storyline actually in the book. And I wondered if it should have been as big as it is. It doesn't seem to take over the book at all, but there are a lot of pages devoted to that wedding storyline. And I think maybe too many pages. The last kind of big thing that's going on in the novel is more about Wes wondering whether he wants to go to college or not. So we have a lot of introspective moments with Wes, and it is from his point of view, and the novel is devoted to a lot of his introspection. And a lot of that is about his future. Does he want to go to college? Is he ready to go to college? Does he want to go to college and be away from Nico, away from his other friends? And he's got all these fears about going to college, and he seems to be a character that doesn't like change, doesn't like stress, doesn't know how to cope properly in the outside world as an adult. That's what it feels like in this novel. So a lot of the novel is based around that, how Wes is coping with all the changes that are going on. The changes where the friends are splitting up to go to college, the bookstore's closing down, the bookstore is a big part of his life. The changes with his brother getting married, the changes with Nico potentially not liking him and not wanting to be his friend anymore if things don't go right. So it's all these changes and fears in his life that do become a prominent feature in this plot, and they do move the plot forward. They become a bit of a plot device. The other thing about this plot is that sometimes it did get a little bit boring. I mean, there is at least one chapter that's just about Wes walking around and sitting down and doing nothing much at all. So I found that a bit of a waste of time, really. It was a page filler, and there are a couple of moments where that happens. So I think that the author was either stretched a bit, trying to get more pages in the book, or he just didn't know how to drive certain parts of the plot forward, and he just was fumbling around a little bit. So I'm not sure what happened in those sections, but they did slow down the story a bit, and it didn't add anything to the story. Wes is our main character. He's got a big heart, so the character seems quite generous and quite giving. He seems to like his friends and enjoy his friends and enjoy having them around him. On the other hand, he comes across as a character that doesn't like change, doesn't like stress, doesn't know how to cope with change. He seems a bit immature at times, and I'm not sure if that's intended in the book by the author, but that's how he comes across. There are some moments where he just has a meltdown about things when external pressures become too much. He's not sure how to deal with them like an adult may deal with them. So I found that interesting in this character, that out of all the kids his age and even younger, a year younger or so, Wes seems to be the least likely to be able to cope with external pressures in his life. And characters that are younger than him cope a lot better. Nico is Wes's best friend, and of course the person that Wes has a crush on. Nico seems to be a bit more well developed. I like his backstory, and I like how his backstory drives what he wants to do, what that character wants to do, and his motivations for his future. That was cleverly done, and it made the character feel really lifelike and really complete. I think Nico comes across as a better character in the book, more centered and more focused. He does have his fun side, he has his serious side, and he has his moments where he gets, a bit annoyed at Wes, sometimes for good reason. And I think that overall, even though the book is about Wes and about Wes coping with life, and we've got the whole POV of Wes going on throughout the book, I kind of liked Nico a little bit better than Wes, and I think that's not the intention of the book, although I'm pretty sure it's not, considering Wes is the main character. But for me, Nico is a better character in this story. The last character I'll mention is Ella. Ella is vibrant, fun, a huge personality in this book. Unfortunately, she's also a character that can push people to the edge. She doesn't know how to temper her own energy. She doesn't know when to stop. But she has the most character growth I have felt in this book. At the very start, she's very self-centered, it comes across. It's all about her and her wants and her happiness. But as the novel progresses, that changes a bit. And as you get towards the end, she does a 180 almost, and she becomes more of a giving and caring character. So I think she had the most character growth in the novel out of all the characters. And I don't know if that's the intention of this author to do that, but that's how it came across. I do like Ella. She is a standout character. Even though I did enjoy this book, it's not a fantastic book. It's not a great book. It's just above average. I rate it a 3 out of 5. I thought it was clever to have a book that's just a slice of life book. There's no action. It's not a thriller. It's not a mystery. And I think some of the characters are really special as well. And the characters are really positive for young people to relate to when they're reading this book. I do review other young adult novels on my channel. Check out my channel and subscribe. Also, check out my young adult playlist. It should be on your screen now.